On a cold evening in Belgium, a family walks into a supermarket for a routine errand. Nothing feels unusual, nothing feels dangerous. Minutes later, that ordinary moment becomes part of one of the darkest unsolved mysteries in European history. Panic spreads, people run, some never return home. When the attackers vanish into the night, they leave behind fear, confusion, and questions that still echo decades later. Who were the Brabant Killers, and why did they leave such devastation behind? Between 1982 and 1985, Belgium experienced a series of violent attacks unlike anything it had seen before. The locations were ordinary places: supermarkets, parking lots, small shops, places where people felt safe. The group responsible became known as the Brabant Killers. Witnesses consistently described at least 3 individuals. One was unusually tall, another was aggressive and unpredictable, a third seemed calm, controlled, and methodical. They appeared organized, they carried powerful weapons, and they showed no clear concern about being recognized. From the beginning, investigators struggled to understand who they were dealing with, or why these specific places were being targeted. The first incidents in 1982 seemed relatively small in scale, involving limited theft and leaving behind very few clues. At first, authorities believed the crimes were financially motivated, just a series of robberies. But as time passed, the pattern began to change, and the motive became far less clear. In 1983, attacks on supermarkets became more frequent and much more severe. The violence often began immediately after the killers entered, leaving little time for anyone to react. Several of these incidents involved stores belonging to the Deadliest supermarket chain, a detail that led to intense speculation. Yet the amount of money taken was surprisingly small. In some cases, the value of what was stolen barely matched the extreme risk involved in carrying out such a public and violent crime. By 1985, the situation had reached a breaking point. On November 9th, in the city of Ulst, the group carried out its final known attack. It was brutal, chaotic, and devastating. 8 people lost their lives during the incident. Families were torn apart in an instant. Entire communities were left in a state of shock and terror. Despite numerous witnesses, massive police operations, and years of investigation, the attackers were never identified. Weapons were later discarded in waterways, providing some physical evidence but no names. Over the years, leads appeared, and then they disappeared just as quickly. Evidence was mishandled. Entire investigative teams were replaced, leading to a loss of continuity in institutional memory. Slowly, the case unraveled, becoming a frustrating and heartbreaking puzzle with too many missing pieces. The lack of answers has given rise to countless theories. One theory suggests the Brabant Killers were ordinary criminals whose actions simply escalated beyond their control, starting as petty thieves and evolving into something much deadlier. But this doesn't fully explain the high level of coordination, the military-style precision of their attacks, or the consistently small financial reward. Another popular theory points to extremist groups active in Belgium during the Cold War. The idea here is that the attacks were a form of political terrorism, meant to spread fear, destabilize society, and undermine public trust in the government. A more disturbing possibility suggests involvement from within official institutions. Individuals with specialized training, access to weapons, and inside knowledge of police procedures could have orchestrated the attacks and covered their tracks. There is also the belief that the crimes may not have been committed by a single, cohesive group at all. It could have been different people with different motives, all operating under the same chilling name that connected them all. In 2018, hope was briefly rekindled when the investigation was officially reopened. But in 2023, it was closed once again, without any answers. No arrests, no convictions, no closure for the families of the victims. The Brabant Killers remain phantoms, a dark chapter in history that refuses to be solved.